we're back. Welcome back to another Flyover State of Film Flyby conversation. If you're new to this program, usually there's four penises on screen, but today it's only two. With me, TJ Dex.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? I don't want to say like I have a penis, but I might.
Somewhere in there.
You never want to assume. But yeah, I'm glad to be here with you. This is our second flyby, and let's fucking do it.
So usually we have two other guys, and we do movie topics, and then we talk about one movie that the other guy forced the other three to watch. But in here on the flybys, we just pair two movies according to a theme that we chose. Today's theme is moving because our baby boy here moved all the way from New Jersey to Chicago, and I also happen to have moved under a year ago to San Antonio, Mexico.
Yeah.
From Ohio. So we want to go ahead.
I couldn't pick two other people to like kind of dive into these like new environment type of movies where like main characters get dipped into these things. Mind you, we're both not in high school, so we're not running into any bullies or groups of vampires. But moving into a new place, just those things come hand in hand. You're just gonna run into some new stuff, and these movies kind of incorporate all of those things.
So if my background hasn't given away a hint, our two picks, and obviously the title and the description and everything else, and probably the tweet that TJ sent, it's not a mystery. We picked The Karate Kid, 1984, and The Lost Boys, 1987. Both run into bullies, and they have to take them down. Only one is, vampires. That's a key difference. Unless Chinese magical arts involved in Lost Boys as well. Yeah, a lot of.
We'll talk about that scene.
All right, so how about we start off with The Karate Kid, 1984, directed by John G. Weidenson. He's of Rocky fame, and he also did he directed Rocky 1.
No fucking way.
What are you fucking how about we cut away from here, because I have the dog crying next to me.
I love it. I heard it. I feel so bad.
Go. Is that how you say the fucking name of that director?
I didn't even know that was the fucking director that directed Rocky. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, he did Rocky 1. Most of the. All right, so let's go back. So I don't know, cut here.
I cut all around this, yeah.
All right, so how about we first talk about The Karate Kid, 1984, directed by John G. Weidenson. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. You're probably dead, so you don't care. So he's from Rocky fame. He directed Rocky 1. He also directed Karate 2 and 3.
That actually makes tons of sense because of the fighting montages.
Yes. And also, fun fact, I was going to save it for later, but fuck it, I'm going to say it now. The song Choice, You're
the Best Around.
You're the Best Around.
Yeah.
Was up for the training montage of Rocky, but they went for Eye of the Tiger.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, Rocky was like what, 70?
I think it's Rocky 2 or 3. That's when Eye of the Tiger comes around.
Yeah.
Saved it. They saved You're the Best Around for Karate Kid, and they used Eye of the Tiger here.
So I had the vinyl, by the way.
Huh?
I had the vinyl. It's so good.
It's also written by Robert Mark Kamen, who wrote the entire trilogy of Karate Kid, who wrote the Transporter trilogy, who wrote the Taken trilogy, and who wrote The Fifth Element. So if you didn't know, that dude had a career. So one could argue that this movie kickstarted the countrywide scam of wannabe dojo masters opening up martial arts schools liberally on every strip mall in this nation. But I also credit it as a gateway drug into martial arts movies for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you done martial arts?
Yeah, I have blue belt in
Oh
Taekwondo.
wow,
Yeah,
dude! I joined Kim's Karate in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Shout
shout
out.
out to Kim.
Yep, because of Karate Kid and also Three Ninjas.
Yeah.
Joined that. Normally, you get your white belt when you join these things right away. You had to earn your white belt. I
Mhm.
earned that, and I quit. And I also was in a karate commercial. That if there's some way I could find that on YouTube, I'll put that in here. But I
All
haven't.
right. Plug it in now.
If not,
If not, I'm just holding
yeah.
caressing Alex Winters. Um, so like I said, I think like this movie could easily be traced back to many people's love for martial arts movies. I
Yeah,
know that I started with this one and then
yeah.
went into like the Van Dams, the Jackie Chans, the Jet Lees.
This is
Now looking,
definitely entry level.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. Especially now, rewatching this movie as an adult, the fight scenes more than leave uh, room for desire. Um,
Let's set it up. Let's set up. Daniel LaRusso
yeah,
moves from Newark, New Jersey to Reseda,
yes.
California.
You see that?
That
Yeah, actually,
is
both these movies they moved to place in California, so that's
oh
another
yeah, yep.
another connection.
So like talk about a fish out of water scenario to where I think my whole thing with this is Daniel LaRusso comes in as a confident kid.
Yeah, he's. I mean, one could argue that he's kind of an asshole.
Little bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
And it's like raised by a single mother, comes in. I mean, Newark, New Jersey is a piece of shit fucking city. Sorry for anyone from Newark.
So
Uh,
his personality matches to his environment.
exactly. So he comes in here and like even when he interacts with the first lady at the bottom of the stairs, where she's just like, you know, Louis, and she's like, oh, look, Uncle Louis and so and so. And she's like, nah, that ain't him. Like he's still such a dick to her, even though he gives the dog water. Like
Yeah.
there's some type of arrogance to Daniel Larusso when he gets to like the new town.
So well, yeah. So Daniel moves to Jersey. He, let's say, is infatuated with a girl played by Elizabeth Shue,
Yep.
Allie. She looks 45
One of the
years old in
best.
the movie.
Arguably one of the best 80s stars.
And she looks super old for being a 17-year-old, but she's only 26, I think, in the movie, and it shows.
Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah, she's no, like the actress is 26 when
Oh, wow. Damn.
and I don't know why she looks. I think it's probably because of Daniel's for Ralph Macchio's baby face. They look like
Dude, that
she's
kid, yeah.
rubbing the like she's a senior and he's a freshman.
Here's a question. You might know this. Why I love movies.com. The Outsiders come out before Karate Kid? Or was
I
that
want to
after?
say yes.
'Cause I'm
I want to say
wondering if
yes.
yeah, I'm wondering if this was like his
One
first.
year before.
So yeah, this was a star turn to where just like give the kid the movie. You know what I mean? Because he
Yeah.
was really good in that, but also still baby faced. Like that
Oh
kid
yeah.
looked. He was like 13.
And not to jump the gun, I feel like the reason why this movie holds is because of his acting. Like he's a good
He's a
actor
good actor. Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
movie for sure. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say give him an Oscar, but for him to be that young and have to carry a movie, I mean not that young, he was like 21, but still, he carried
Uh,
the movie pretty well.
I want to go back on his confidence for a second because I think that kind of leads into like the writing of the movie. So he gets in the apartment, he's carrying
Mhm.
his bike up, and that dude comes out just like a kid his age, supposedly. And like Daniel's not even like shy about it. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? I'm Daniel," and he's like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so and so from here." That's where they get that first connection. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have a bonfire tomorrow night. Why don't you come through?" So like, I think the confidence in Larusso actually, I mean, it makes sense for him to be kind of like an asshole because if he was like I barely said hi to my neighbor since I fucking moved in because I'm still like shook on everything, like
yeah,
come from Jersey to Chicago. But he was just like, "Yeah, I'm Danny. I'm from fucking Newark. Here's my bike. You want to help?" He's like, "Yeah, man,
yeah,
I'm right here." So that's
yeah,
how.
yeah. And I feel like it. I don't know if it's obviously now would the trope would be for him to be super shy or awkward,
Yeah.
and through martial arts is where he finds his voice.
Oh yeah,
He
makes
already had his voice. He just wanted to
yeah.
kick somebody's ass. So
Seriously.
so he falls in love with not falls. He's infatuated with Allie, played by Elizabeth Shue, who so happens to have a psycho ex-boyfriend or just a normal ex-boyfriend, depending on how you view the movie.
Yeah.
Because he's not that. I mean, he does grab her pretty hard, so that's kind of a douchebag move
Racist,
there. But played by Willem Sapka, Johnny.
Really?
And Sweep the Leg, Johnny, and they have a tussle. And Johnny at first didn't want to kick Daniel's ass.
No.
Credit to Johnny. Like, he does a torero move and just evades him for a while. But Daniel, being the cocky asshole that he is from Jersey, he gets his ass kicked at the beach. So,
well, he did have karate lessons from the YMCA. So
okay, yeah, you know, everybody knows that every UFC fighter started at the YMCA, so he has a good base.
Yes.
So long story short, well, no, I don't think I can glaze over the Mr. Miyagi introduction, who is the loner maintenance man of the building that Daniel moved to, right?
Catching flies while the first time we meet Mr. Miyagi, he's catching flies with chopsticks, and Daniel LaRusso is just going to be like, "Hey, man, our water pressure's off, or it's not even working," and he's just like, "Yep, got it, okay," and like that was it, and like that's the first time you see him.
Yeah.
Which I think is super smart, because the next time you see him is like a bigger impact where just like, I mean, we'll get to it at some point, but
yeah, I feel like there's like a double-edged sword with Mr. Miyagi. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, but he's like super on the surface. You can say that it's like super stereotypical and vaguely racist, the accent that they're making him do.
I try my best not to do that. I just said, yeah.
But at the same time, I completely blocked out of my child brain the scene where he gets drunk and they deep dive into the internment camps.
Yeah.
And how medical doctors didn't want to help the Asian American population, and how he sacrificed his life at war so that people would see him as a U.S. citizen and they wouldn't treat him racially over here in the States. So I was like, when I was watching that scene, I was like, God damn, this got heavy real quick.
Real fucking quick, dude.
So it is a double-edged sword. Like, they are commentating on racism in America while slightly being racist with the character itself.
I mean, even in the karate later, this doesn't spoil anything. I'm just getting a little quick. Even at the karate tournament where you're at a fucking karate tournament, there's still, even with him as being his teacher, people look at it like, oh, and scoff at it. Just like, okay, you know, obviously, if you've seen previews of the movie and stuff like that going into it, that he'll be a bigger part. But the way they introduce him, where he just seems so out of it and just like, yeah, got it. And then later, when he sees Daniel throw his bike into the dumpster because of shit that happens, he just like connects to the kid almost. And Daniel does it. So Daniel, I don't know how to like explain it. So basically, he gets introduced, invited to the bonfire.
Yeah,
kind of having his cool kid moment, juggling the soccer ball on his knees.
There's a lot of soccer in this movie as well.
Yeah.
Could have been the soccer kid.
If you impress a girl, why not juggle a soccer ball? Because I could like throw a football and catch it. I can catch a baseball in a minute. But if I could juggle a soccer ball on my knees, you're saying something.
So was soccer like very big in California?
I don't know. I've never been there, but it could be. I mean, think about it this way also. What do you do on the beach? It's either you're playing football or soccer. Soccer on the beach is really fucking hard, so it's impressive. So if you can do that.
I grew up in an island, and what we did was play dominoes, get drunk, and have bad sunburns. So that's
all right. Well, I know a little thing about sunburns, so I got you on that point. Yeah. But like, you know, Daniel shows his dick, William shows his. Williams is bigger and beats the shit out at that point. Run him down the hill. His bike gets like kind of fucked up. He throws his bike in the dumpster. His mom sees it. They have an argument. They're like, he's like, I just want to go back home. Take me back home. And then they walk away, and then you just get like Mr. Miyagi walking out of a closet like, all right, kid, I relate to you. Let's do it. Yeah. And that's where the movie kind of takes off at this point. You're just like,
so
yeah.
so now Mr. Miyagi is gonna train Daniel to compete at the tournament, and he comes up with a truce with the psychopath kid abuser that runs the dojo.
Oh yeah.
That none of his kids are gonna be touched. I think his name is Kreese, right? The dojo master.
John Kreese.
None of his kids are gonna touch Daniel up until
the tournament.
We get a bunch of training montages that double as chores. Like he's just painting a fence. He's washing a car, and then Mr. Miyagi reveals that all along he's been training him. How many shitty parents use the chore excuse as, oh no, you're training to be a martial artist. Go wash the fucking dishes.
I wish mine did. They just kind of were just like, hey, mow the lawn. I'm like, I'm going to learn something from this? They're like, no, you're mowing the lawn. And I was like, God damn it. But like waxing the car, the whole wax on, wax off thing, everyone knows about that. Even if you've never seen this movie, you've heard wax on, wax off.
Which is kind of shitty because, in theory, the best defense is offense, but all he's taught him
is defense.
It's just blocking techniques.
Yep.
So he's just going to block one kick, shatter his forearm, and he's fucked for the entire rest of his day because he's just going to get head kicked to death because he didn't learn to throw one single kick.
Double sides of this movie, man. So when Daniel gets beat up by the bullies, his first instinct is learn karate. First dojo he walks into is called Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Strike first. They are an offensively led karate team. When he walks in, he sees his bully is the leader, and his bully says something to his sensei, John Kreese, Mr. Miyagi, and then
child abuser.
Yep, then he quits, and then Mr. Miyagi at some point walks in. They have that whole thing where you just talked about. We're having the deal where it's like, you don't touch my guy, he won't do anything to you. We'll do it the All Valley tournament, but like, there's a great balance in these two styles. Like Mr. Miyagi's kata is absolutely being a defensively more focused way of attacking, and then Cobra Kai is we're going to punch first and then ask questions later. That's the perfect yin and yang.
Yeah.
Pun it out, but like of using that type of like styles against each other in this type of movie. So like it works. Even like in not going back to this guy's first directorial debut, but Rocky, where like Rocky is this guy who just takes a ton of hits to get his like 3 big hits in on Apollo. Great like balance between styles of fighters. So like it's smart. It makes a lot of sense the way they wrote that.
That's a fair point, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. So now they're training. I wanted to touch on the famous shower costume / skeleton scene. The truce have been made. Nobody's fucking with Daniel, but Daniel, being from Jersey and being an asshole, decides to attack Johnny and his friends. How many are there? Like 5 with him? Like
6. Well, this is what entices the truce, because at this point Daniel goes to the dojo, sees his bully is the leader. He's like, I'm done. Goes to Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi's like, all right, I'll train you. And then, or he said he doesn't want to train him. And then they had the Halloween party where Daniel dresses a shower so no one knows who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy Zabka's just rolling a joint in the toilet, man. He's not doing anything bad. And Daniel decides to put a hose on him and put water on it and ruin his joint. This entices him getting his ass.
That's the perfect example of the war on drugs right there. So many shit.
Just hose
minding their own business, just smoking a joint, not bringing any trouble, and then the government comes, dresses a shower, and dumps water on.
Yep, and then Mr. Miyagi sees him getting his ass kicked, kicks the shit out of a bunch of kids. Mind you,
I remember rooting for an old gentleman.
Yeah, man, beating up kids.
Essential child soldiers, like they've been brainwashed by Kreese. But
yeah, and this is what makes the truce happen, because Kreese is like, all right, because Billy's like, that's the old man that beat us up. And he's like, your guy don't touch my guy. My guy won't touch your guy. And you're like, all right, fine. Let's fucking meet at the tournament. And this is what starts all the great, you're the best around montages.
Montages.
Yeah.
So we fast forward to the tournament. Daniel and Ali have been their relationship has been growing. Mr. Miyagi lets him use the car, and they go on a date. And
yep.
We have the drunken moment with Mr. Miyagi that we mentioned, which is
Super
gives
sad.
him a lot of backstory.
And on his wife too.
Yeah, no, and also we move on to the tournament where Ali acts as the interpreter for Mr. Miyagi, so he can go backstage, even though like the backstage is pretty much just jam packed of random people walking around. I doubt that everybody here is a trainer or somebody, which is kind of stupid. And then we got a montage.
That's it. Shit from.
Yeah, and then we get a montage of questionable martial arts occurring as the climax.
I don't So I did, mind you, you're a blue belt. You know, probably know more than me. I did one karate tournament. I still don't understand how it works. Cause you get a montage of like Daniel versus randoms, and then you get Billy versus randoms. What the fuck is the name of the guy? Johnny versus randoms.
Yeah,
Billy Zabka. And then like I don't understand how the point system works in these karate tournaments, because I figure if you block point, is it just a strike the end of that round?
They never give like clear cut rules. All they say is like the belt above. So that's why in the last scenes when Johnny's like literally trying to break Daniel's leg.
Yeah.
After Mr. Miyagi did some black Chinese magic art on his torn ACL. Like he's a back corner man. Like, should have said, you know what, you're supposedly 17 years old. You could not walk straight for the rest of your fucking life. Yep. It's not worth it, kid.
That could have been Achilles. It could have been a fucking ACL, an MCL. It could have been a lot of different things.
But you know, the eternal man up. Yeah. He just fucking rubbed some Bengay on. And Daniel could fight again for some fucking reason. And we get the famous crane kick. No one can defend.
Oh man, mind you, I've tried that a bunch of times with my little brother. He always knows what's coming. I'm just assuming Johnny maybe never ever seen that type of style.
I mean, it's on Johnny because he went literally face first. He wasn't even throwing a punch. He was like, he was gonna headbutt him, I think, just right in the chest.
I just ducked in. I was like, "What did you?" There was only one thing you could throw because his hand here and his other leg was in the air. Like, what's he gonna do? He's got one leg.
To be fair, I think it was Lyoto Machida in the UFC. He landed a switch kick. Obviously, he didn't went like this.
Okay, I was gonna say if he did that, that'd be sick.
But he faked him out with the left and went with the right, and he just landed square in the jaw and knocked him out. It was amazing. But yeah, so Johnny gets kicked into anti-hero status. He's no longer the bully.
Yep.
He's let's
give Johnny a little credit here, all right? Which is obviously, I know you haven't watched this yet. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this is where a little bit of Cobra Kai comes from. Like when he goes to the corner when his nose is bleeding and Kreese is like, sweep the leg, and he's like, what? That's illegal. Like even in Johnny's worst moments, being a bully and being what he's raised as, he has that moment of like, even if it's to win, he's like, that's not a karate thing to do. Like sweep the leg, that's legal. But still at the same time, you're gonna like want to please the sensei. But you get a little bit of character in the Johnny moment, which leads into the end of the movie. And this is just me being me. But in Karate Kid 1, you get the ending, right? You get like the ending that we want to get into. I don't know if that starts with Karate Kid 2.
Dude, I have that fucking note.
Okay, cool. Let's get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, in my childhood, this fucking movie ends in a parking lot.
Yes.
Between Mr. Miyagi and Kreese.
Yes.
That's the ending that I had in my head. Yeah. And suddenly this bitch ends in a still frame and credits start to roll. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's what I thought, dude.
Well, that's the start of Karate Kid 2.
and where you get the whole parking lot, and then you get deeper into Johnny, and you're like, oh, the kid's just being fucking abused.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Okay, well, regardless. Okay, but you get a little bit of that at that moment when he's just like, and he's like, shoot the light. You're like, what? And he's just like, do it. And he's like, all right. And it's like, the dude that put him in a body bag kid. We got to mention that guy. Insert clip there. Roll back.
Put him in a body bag.
Yeah, it's like
fucking psychopath.
Yeah, and like
also, this movie could not be made with a Latino mom because no Latino mom is gonna let their 17-year-old hang out with a lonely.
My God, I want you to watch Cobra Kai in the worst way.
The lonely Asian man in the corner. Just give your son 24/7 to him and do not look the other way. Mr. Miyagi probably was in the top 10 FBI watch list at that point. He's just recruiting kids into his dojo randomly. But yeah, the movie fucking holds up in my eyes. I had a blast watching it. The second is fine. The third is and then
third gets a little rough.
And according to TJ and Joe as well, Cobra Kai holds up for sure. Anything else you want to mention before we jump into my sexy man right here?
No, I just want to say that I think that Karate Kid absolutely holds up, and you can just watch the first one and dive right into Cobra Kai. And man, I really want you to, but I love Karate Kid. It got me into karate at first, made me quit karate second. You know what I mean? Let's get into the beautiful boys behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, You're the Best Around is by far one of the best montage songs ever. So how about we jump 3 years into the future, 1987. If bisexuality or if the spectrum of bisexuality had to pick a movie to represent itself, I think this would be the one. I could argue that this is high on the list, at least through its sexy stars rocking the dangly earring, crop tops, leather jackets, bleached hair, mullets, and not to mention the old up saxophone player in the beginning. I mean, if you've never questioned your sexuality and you're a heterosexual male, you haven't watched this movie. So director Joel Schumacher, RP, best known from this Batman and Robin. But he also has bangers like Flatliners, St. Elmo's Fire, Falling Down, and this one obviously. This has 3 writers, but only one had like an actual career, and it kind of threw me off for a loop because the dude also wrote the Lethal Weapon trilogy, the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and the Phantom with Billy Zane, the purple leotard superhero. So yeah, those I did not know those movies had the same writer, which is wild to me. Like we mentioned before, The Boys, which is Jason Patric, who plays Michael, and Corey Haim.
Correct.
Right? Sam, they moved from I don't know where to from Arizona. To California into Santa a fake name, Santa Clarita, is it?
Is it Santa Carla or Santa Clarita? I'm honestly Santa Clarita is that
movie, that Netflix,
Netflix show, Santa Carla, which is supposedly the murder capital of the world.
Yeah, they had to put a fake name because nobody wanted to be associated for some reason with the murder capital of the world.
Yep. Shout out Diane Wiest also. This movie, if you guys haven't heard in our latest episode of Flyover State of Film, the Twister one, Twisted Brothers, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Where we did a little tribute to Joel Schumacher, because R.I.P.
Yeah.
But this, to me, hands down, if I haven't said it before, is the best vampire movie, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. This one kind of encapsulates like hair metal.
Yeah.
Using the old school vampire, just being like that, like badass, semi like listening to like Black Sabbath, like type of shit. Like, I don't know. Like, there's Interview with the Vampire. There's like your classic Dracula and stuff like that. But this movie, I mean, just seeing behind Jusef when they had the whole Aerosmith background, they come over the hill. Like, man, look at those fucking beautiful men. God damn it.
Look at that crop top.
Dude, Alex Winters, dude, shout out Bill and Ted 3, whatever.
Yeah, he's the best part of Bill and Ted 3. It's like he never left that person. Like he's always been Bill since he left Bogus Journey. So they are in like a boardwalk community, and it so happens to be that this boardwalk community is infested with vampires.
Yep.
The crew is led by Kiefer Sutherland. We have Jamie Gertz as Star, which is a half vampire, something that they introduced in this movie. I'm not sure if I've seen it in other movies. Not quite to this extent, but if you're bitten or you drink the blood of a vampire, you become a half vampire.
Yeah.
Until you have your first kill or drink of blood, that's when you become full vampire.
Which gets harder and harder over time.
Yeah.
Right.
She said, so Star is a half vampire, and Kiefer wanted her to to kill Michael.
Correct.
Michael was going to be her first kill, and that's when she was going to be transformed into Fool. Michael, I think Kiefer Sutherland becomes like, I think his name is David.
Yes.
In the movie, he becomes infatuated with Michael to a
certain extent. Kind of almost in the same way that Star. Like, I always loved that like part of it, where like, sorry to cut you off, where like at first you get that Star likes him, and then Davian has that moment. Again, moving into these new spots, which again, this is what this is all based off of, and running into a new crew. I'm pretty sure Jason Patrick was a cool guy.
Oh, 100%. He's like shirtless, pumping iron, and he has a mullet. He has an earring.
So like when he gets Star and he gets her on the back of the bike, and she's like, and David's like, "Where are you going, Star?" And she's like, "Out." And he's like, "Come on, let's go." Puts her back on it, like puts her on the bike, and then David's like, "Star." And like she gets off, and even he looks at him. And David, I think at that point, becomes infatuated with him, like you said, where he's like, "All right, you got confidence? Let's see what you got, man. Follow us."
Yeah, and I feel like that's why I also did like the joke in the beginning of the, like this would be a bisexuals movie to pick, because there's kind of like a love triangle.
Tension, yes.
Yeah, it's a love triangle between 100%. David, Star, and Michael for sure. And I actually wanted to bring up something that I read on. Well, let me finish. So they become infatuated with Michael. They're trying to recruit him to the crew. He becomes half vampire, and while all this is happening, his little brother mates a duo of brothers. One of them is Corey Feldman.
Correct.
That are self-proclaimed vampire hunters, and they're trying to get rid of the head vampire, which they believe it to be David. They want to
shout out the Frog Brothers.
Yeah, because if you kill David, the head vampire, the rest of them become normal, right? That's
correct. If you haven't made your first kill yet,
if you haven't made
whole stipulation, So like Alex Winter,
yeah, the ones that are full vampires are not gonna come back.
Yeah, they won't turn back. But
spoiler alert: Alex Winter gets a stake through the heart by one of the brothers, so he's not even coming back if that's happening.
They go for the little one first.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you want to go into full spoilers, but this movie is 30 plus years old, so fuck you if you've seen it. Turns out David is not the head vampire, is the dude that is smooshing on Michael's and Sam's mother.
For some reason, I want to call him David Herman. I don't know. I don't think that's his name. I think it's like Herman something. He also reminds me of the guy who played Herman Munster. But yeah, they have these like weird things, like where Diane Weiss is like looking for a job on the boardwalk. She meets this gentleman. So at some point, she walks to like a VCR store. She finds a kid. This guy sees her and says that she seems nurturing. So something about that like turns him on about her. And then you learn later that like you see like David and his group of vampires in the shop. He's like, "I told you guys never to come in here."
Yeah.
The whole thing with the dog, and like even there's a point in the movie where Sam.
His name is Max.
Yeah, Max. So like Sam and them. What's his name in real life? Yeah.
I'll get it to you while you talk.
Yeah. So like Sam and his because like Sam and the Frog Brothers. So Sam goes to a comic book shop, meets the Frog Brothers as a new kid would do, just trying to meet some new friends.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of scope him out and look him up and down. He does the same thing to them. He kind of proves his worth with the whole Superman, like the kryptonite thing that he has, like his little quip about that with them. But they kind of like force on the vampire horror comics. He's like, I don't like horror comics. And they're like, oh, you like this for certain reasons. Then at some point, Sam and them get kind of up on Diane Weist's love interest, which you're looking up the name of now. They think he's the guy, but we all learn in like Buffy and stuff like that, like you give up most of your power when you invite a vampire into your house.
Yes.
So if you invite him in, garlic doesn't work, holy water doesn't work, the whole nine doesn't work, mirrors and all that shit doesn't work, which we'll get to in the final battle of this thing. But they're on to him at some point, which makes you as a watcher kind of fall off because you're like, all right, they proved all the stuff. He did garlic, he did the whole shit. It's fine. So they move on from him at that point.
Edward Herman is his
name. Edward Herman, that's what it is. I thought it was Herman Edward.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it there with the Lost Boys. The only thing that I mean, I feel like when I saw it as a kid, I didn't catch on the comedic beats. Like it has a lot of comedic beats woven into. Some of them kind of jar the tone a little bit, but not to the point that you're like, oh, what the fuck is happening here?
No, I mean it does get violent though too.
Yeah, no, but it gets kind of goofy in the house. I do love the scene where they're like stealing holy water from the church
during a baptism, I think it is. They're just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah. But I wanted to bring up something that I read online, and I feel like the reason why I want to bring it up is because all of our millions and millions of listeners can hear me debunk this theory to a certain extent. There's like a theory running around that vampires here represent sexuality. Homosexuals. So the reason why they are placing this together is because of the sexual tension between David and Michael, how the brothers are dressing or acting in masculine ways and they despise them so much, the vampires.
Oh, yeah.
How Sam is queer adjacent, like he's having bubble baths, he has like dress shop to kill t-shirts. It's kind of like in the spectrum, but I feel like and also Max is trying to recruit Michael's and Sam's mom to be the head vampire next to her. So it's kind of symbolizing a return to the comments
sexual family,
the family, the traditional family aesthetic, because he's tired of his boys being gay, I guess. But I feel like that theory completely falls in his face when you realize that one, David Schumacher was an openly gay man,
correct,
and he was very pro-gay. So
and he had sex with tons of fucking dudes, especially people that you love in Hollywood. Joel Schumacher was bending them down and doing it right because he's a fucking god.
So it kind of falls on the face because one, I don't feel Schumacher would direct a movie that portrays homosexuality as the villains.
No,
of the movie.
Yeah, no.
And second, I feel like, and obviously one could argue, oh, he's just a director, he didn't write it, but the original story was going to be little kids. That's why it's called Lost Boys. The play was on Peter Pan was actually a vampire. That's why he never aged, because he was made into a vampire as a kid.
He kind of talks about that in the if you like have the original Lost Boys DVD, he kind of talks about it. But when he had Kiefer in to God, what do actors do when they're fucking coming in
audition?
Thank you. Audition for the role. He was just like, and he made his entire Lost Boys gang around like Kiefer's like style and how he looked and how he came into the interview and stuff like that. Like he might have came in there and wanted to do it, but like I think that seeing like Kiefer and seeing like a what was he, like 20? I think he was at the point in
Yeah,
time.
21, 22.
Yeah, so like he sees him, he's like, I love the style. Let's fly with this, which
No,
makes
yeah, and he made
so
it
much more sense.
R-rated,
Yes.
drenching sexuality, gore, violence.
Mhm.
So it's super far away from the original intent.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that. I feel like people just hammer in things to work, and to a certain extent, maybe yeah, it could have been like David seducing him into a sexual relationship. You
Yeah.
could argue that that was part of it, but for it to be fully the bad guy being homosexuality when an openly gay man was directing it, I doubt that he would put that type of material into the
No.
world.
Joel's way smarter than that. I don't think he would ever do that like on purpose or even like to just be like something. I mean, these are more of these people like when my thing is like when does this Reddit thing come out? It's like is it later after he passed type of thing where like
Yeah, I doubt I could pinpoint the
yeah,
origin, but that's
you know what I
one of
mean?
those common movie.
Of course.
People are bored, and we like
I
to read into the media that we consume.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that people don't put subliminal messages or double meaning behind every action. There are, and there are valid interpretations, but that one feels too forced and
Way too
too.
forced. I mean, you get all of Joel's style in this movie. I think that's like one of the best
Yeah.
style. One of the best things about this, the music, the way it's shot. Like, look at the shot behind
Oh
you.
yeah.
Again, that shot behind you is one of the best fucking shots I've seen on a film in a long time. Walking over that hill with that, oh, like in the background,
Oh
just
yeah. The
great,
score. The score is
dude.
fantastic.
It's incredible.
I also love the practical use of the camera to hide the fact that
It's
they
it's like
can't.
handheld. It's
Yeah,
one of the best.
and the flying sequences are great because once you actually see them flying, you're like, "Ugh." So I'm glad they did that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the entire movie. But the practical makeup is fantastic. I was reading also that this is '87, so contact lenses weren't that great back then. They were like,
Oh, that probably hurt.
yeah, they were like made of crystal, like
Yeah.
so it was literally just like a hard yellow thing on their eyes. So they couldn't shoot for long periods of time because the pain of their eyes. And according to this video that I saw, the tear when David gets burned, like that's actually his tears from the contact lenses, and it just worked in context of the scene. But it was just his eyes just
Dude,
watering because they hurt
that's
so much.
that's the moment of the director. You're looking at him and you see that and you want to be like, cut, he's hurting. You're just like,
Let it
let
roll.
it roll. Let it roll. Just keep going. That's incredible because you think about that, like the Buffy TV show that they did,
Yeah, they had very
obviously.
similar makeup.
Yeah, they just did the brow
Yeah.
and the fucking and the eyes. That's it. Obviously
Mhm.
the teeth. That's I mean, that's nothing. But there was I mean, Dawn of the Dead, or not Dawn of the Dead, From Dusk Till Dawn, they have
Yeah.
like full facial like changes where it's just like the brow and the eyes and the teeth. That's all you need. That's it.
It does have one of my least favorite tropes. Like this trope just makes me roll my eyes so far back that I can see my own brain. And that is the hero gains the powers of the villain and instantly knows how to use them and is
Yeah.
far better than the villain that has been using them for years
Yeah.
now.
Because you really don't know how old David is, and Michael just to come out and kind of like
He just
basically
manhandles them.
overpower him. Yeah,
Yeah,
without
he
yeah.
manhandles like, and he's not. Does he become a full vampire, or did I miss that step? He didn't become
No,
a
no,
full
no.
vampire, right?
He never to get a full kill. He is like vampire. So like the one thing they never did was Star never turned. Uh,
No,
the
the
child
little
never
boy,
turned.
no.
Well, the child did turn, but he never made his first kill, but he did turn. So I guess you can give a little bit of a leeway with that. But
But still, it's like a half vampire versus the
the full
second in
on, yeah,
command vampire, and
yes,
he
yep.
beats them.
And
So
he's murdered so many fucking people because you really don't know how old David is.
no,
But my whole thing with this that I fucking love, which I wish they kind of like. I've never seen any. God, Joe, if you put Lost Boys like in the horror thing episode that we do every fucking year, I'll be very upset. But I've always wanted to dive into the Lost Boys episodes because the grandfather at the end, spoilers, David's getting, or I'm sorry, Michael's getting overpowered by the head vampire, right? And then you hear, "Brr, brr, 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 brr," and he pulls the truck, and all his fence posts kill the head vampire. And then he's like,
Yeah.
he goes in the kitchen and grabs like his milk, and I'm waiting for him to turn into a vampire. For some fucking reason, I feel like he's gonna turn into a vampire. And like Corey Haim's like, "Grandpa, is everything okay?" And he's like, "One thing I never liked about Santa Carla, all the damn vampires." I was like, how long does this go back?
No, yeah, that's another theory. Also, yeah, the grandpa represents masculinity and old school nature, and that's why he's like, "Oh, I hate all this."
I ran 6 miles in the snow on the way to school.
But yeah, that's kind of another theory that David and his crew are only one of the sects in Santa. Like, there's multiple groups of vampires in Santa Clara that they didn't just kill off the group that was killing everybody. It was just one of them.
And then he's like, I think at one point he even mentions like werewolves at some point. I'm like, are there more things? Like, you could dive into that, like, because Lost Boys itself, like Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, have its own like name.
Yeah, they did like 3 sequels, right?
Yeah, at least. Corey Feldman's in all of them.
Yeah, Corey has milked that cow very well, and he deserves it. He needs the money for legal reasons. But the original idea that Schumacher had, and they shot him down, was doing an all-female, and this was before woke Hollywood, doing an all-female version called The Lost Girls.
Wow. Okay. Well, this actually leads me to like the Trick or Treat, where they had the whole Anna Paquin werewolf pack. Like, that would work so fucking well. Why not? Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I feel like this movie, like Karate Kid, holds up despite all its flaws and all its quirks that come with the times. Like, it's just, every single decade has like certain tropes or certain styles that now you're watching them, you go like, maybe not. Yeah. But the core of the movie, the acting is pretty solid. Probably best Jason Patrick.
Yep.
Movie performance.
Speed 2.
Speed 2. When he went, like, his hair was just like going backwards in time.
Yeah.
It's a classic Corey's movie. Probably their best. I don't know if they have a better movie together.
License to Drive.
Yeah. No. You better not fucking put that thing in.
Thought about it. Thought about it.
And this one is also one of those movies where you go like, hey, Alex Winter could have been a star, like,
easily. And also probably the scariest looking one.
Yes.
Keeper. Yeah.
Yeah. He made a mullet look scary. So that's props to them. Yep. But yeah, practical effects, the acting, the incredible stylization of Schumacher. It made for a fun movie. I love it. I honestly do. It's a good movie. I know that there's people that hate it, but I honestly don't know what they're fucking watching.
Yeah, they go to fucking hell. They go to hell.
So that's it. That's it for today's episode. Anything else you want to add for the movies?
No, all I'm saying is if you move, just mind yourself. Do not find a beautiful blonde group of guys with one.
Yeah. Or do, man, if you want that lifestyle,
go for it. Go for it.
Riding motorcycles in the sand while you can fly for some reason is still cool.
Years old forever is pretty tight. And then if you move to Reseda, be careful of like blonde bullies with fingerless gloves and headbands.
Overall, stay away from blondes. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Dude, learn karate, guys. All right, if you're gonna move, learn karate.
Learn karate and bring a little bit of holy water with you.
Yeah. I'm TJ Dex. You can find me at TJ Dex on Twitter. Guys, check out episode 55 of Flyover State of Film. We have a bracket coming up that we have kind of ranking all of our bad movies that we've picked over these 55 episodes. 56
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes. So we're kind of diving into that for the next bracket. Check out the other flybys between Jusef and Brian, Brian and Joe, Joe and Jusef,
We
Brian.
got it all. We've already. This is our second cycle now.
Yes, sir. So definitely check all those out. And at TJ Dex on Twitter. You're on Flyover State of Film YouTube. Jusef, go.
wildlovemovies.com. Bye.